Well, you've been accused by some to be a process apologist, a propagandist for...
You are that some, to be clear. You are the person.
Yeah, you are a propagandist for the process. Are you rejecting this hypothesis?
I prefer the term priest.
Okay.
Prophet.
You're
as opposed to propagandist.
Letter from Paul to the Ephesians. You are ordained. But I want to talk to you about this because, all right, here, the NBA did look into it, and they found that there was no wrongdoing. It doesn't take a genius to look at the links between Rubin and Harden and Morey to see that maybe, just maybe, last year's opt-out and opt-in for less money than was promised in the initial deal might have been a little shady, despite the NBA just telling us, trust us. Source, trust me, bro. On the circumvention of the salary cap. Now, when James Harden, and we should play that video back one more time, if only to marvel at the bad wardrobe choice that James Harden made with the box cut shirt and the view from the side.
It's really the color. That's it.
It's
the
wear
white on white.
You can't wear white.
Right. Yeah.
Box cut from the side.
The cut shirt is tough too.
I think he looks fine.
Really?
You do?
I think I think it's. I
don't think you've seen it close enough.
Let's run it back again. So I'm gonna circle back. Really look at it.
Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of. Let me say that again. Daryl Morey is a liar, and I will never be a part of an organization that he's a part of.
Shout out to the person going, woo!
I love that he hammers it home, though, a second time.
Yeah, well,
It's
he
so
needed
great,
to.
yes.
As we established, the audio wasn't great on the front end, and it's almost as if he had Supreme Court vision. That microphone's muffled. Allow me to say it again. And as you can see with the box-cut shirt, there is something happening there in the midsection that is cascading over the belly, making the belly appear even bigger than it is in reality.
He said it with his stomach.
He carries his weight right up top. Most people, it's like, how do you carry the baby? Is it up, low, 9 months? Shout out Tom Arnold. I guess Juju's here, and I have to do that stuff. Sorry to infringe on your gimmick, but I think we cut it. We cut down to it. He carries his weight up here in the upper body. It's kind of like a real, true midsection, and then it cascades down, given the appearance that he's chubbier than he actually is. Pablo, your thoughts on all of this?
It is proof that James Harden is the greatest trade requester in the history of sports.
I mean, that's the volume thing, though. Much like his game, he is a volume shooter with this.
Mike, let's not give him short thrift, though. It is volume. Of course, he does it seemingly every offseason, but it's also the technique. He's gone from, like, I'm just not going to play, which is standard operating procedure for a trade requester, a trade demander, a trade forcer. But then beyond that, remember how he got out of Houston. He went on a literal tour of strip clubs with Lil Baby, right? So that's A. Exhibit B.
Lil Baby.
Yeah,
it's
a fine.
$12.
Well, I thought I nailed that one, but okay.
So you said
Baby.
Little Baby, thinking that you nailed it.
Little Baby.
Well, I try to do a little soft tickle of the T that's just sub-audible.
$12 more.
Like an Englishman?
Well, yeah, well, Lil Baby. But then remember, of course, he goes Nutty Professor. He Nutty Professors himself and gets out of Brooklyn. And this is the culmination, right?
He has certainly Nutty Professored himself. We all agree there.
It is fat suit plus geopolitics, right? So he's in China. I feel like this is the most underrated part.
Oh, that was the whoop. That was why you got the whoop. Daryl Morey is a liar. That plays well.
Dude, this guy is a master. This is a master at work. He's in China on his China tour, and he knows Daryl Morey is enemy number one geopolitically. They love the NBA. They hate Daryl Morey. And James Harden is out here campaigning against Daryl and repeating himself twice with multiple angles. Like, there was no way this wasn't going to get captured from every possible vantage point. And so here he is with a move that cannot be countered. And it's a move so great, Mike, that the only spin I have as to why it's good for the Sixers is that now it feels like maybe Michael Rubin didn't give him that much money. Because actually now James is coming back saying, like, you owe me.
So this was a countermeasure from James Harden.
It was a counterpunch. Of course it was.
Because Morey came out and said, guess what? We're not trading him. The offers are bad. We're just simply not trading him, which is a bridge shorter than it's a bridge longer than what Portland's actually done. They just flatly said, we're not making this move because the offers are so bad. Curious, Pablo, do you think the league is going to step in, given that they established a precedent with what's going on between Portland, Miami, Damian Lillard and his reps. This is played kind of in a similar fashion. And for the league to not say something would probably give more fuel to the conspiracy theorist fire in Heat Island over there.
Yeah, I mean, look, first off, Damian Lillard should be taking notes. This is how you do this, okay? Like, you make a giant mess. You involve every bit of leverage you did not have by generating controversy, generating toxicity. And if you're Adam Silver, this is obviously, to your point, Mike, a shot across his bow, too. Like, what do you do? What do you do when one of your most famous players is out here saying, I'm not showing up because my GM is a liar, because he promised me something that he did not deliver, when in fact, it seems like what he did not deliver was a trade that was satisfactory to the team that was going to trade him away. So this is where Daryl is, right? Like, I think one of the things that we need to respect about Daryl Morey, for all of his nerd analytics, like anti-humanity, he is a player empowerment guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the story of this video is that James Harden is no longer the player he's empowering. He's empowering Joel Embiid. Daryl Morey has an audience of one when I watch these videos. It is Joel Embiid. It is, how are you going to get me help? Are you trying to get me help? Are you trying to get me another star? And given the way the trade market dried up, and given the way that the Rockets pulled out of it once they hired their new coach, right, who did not want James Harden anymore because he had coached him in Brooklyn, at that point, you don't really have moves to make. And so if you're Adam Silver, I'm feeling like, yeah, this is something that you need to solve. It's also a major challenge to your power, because you're trying to force a GM to do something against the interests of his team.
Pablo, at what point do we stop caring about James Harden? Because I think I'm there, and here's the reason, okay? Harden's had every opportunity to win. Lillard has not, okay? Lillard's been there for a long time. The best teammate he ever had was C.J. McCollum, who's a good player, not a great player. Harden had Chris Paul in Houston. Then he went to the Nets. He wanted out of Brooklyn. Then he went to Philadelphia. He plays with Joel Embiid. He can't win there. And so now he wants out of Philadelphia. I am tired. I am done with James Harden.
James Harden lost Daryl Morey, and that is all you need to know. Like, Daryl Morey is the #1 James Harden apologist of all time. I have sat in an office with Daryl watching James Harden highlights as he sort of giggles to himself and chugs Diet Mountain Dew, talking about how this guy should be the MVP. And not Steph Curry. In 2015, talking about how this guy is not trying to trick refs. He's actually one of the most clever players in NBA history, one of the greatest offensive players in NBA history. Daryl wrote that letter to the Houston Chronicle, full-page ad, saying, James Harden changed my life. But at this point, Stu, James Harden is not the player that he wants to empower because he's not good enough anymore. Joel Embiid is the one, and that's what James Harden's reacting to.
That's the process propagandist spin that I was expecting, because you said that James Harden has lost Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey has lost James Harden. Look, I know that James Harden makes for a really bad martyr. He's requested more trade requests than anybody else combined in the last 3 seasons. However, he's been supremely loyal to Daryl Morey. With the initial force my way to Houston, to re-up with Houston, force my way out of a really good situation, on paper anyways, in terms of immediate title threats in Brooklyn, force it in an unprecedented fashion to go back to Daryl Morey, and then take less on a deal that he was sitting pretty with, take less, and re-up with the Philadelphia 76ers. If I'm the rest of the teams in the league, you say that he's calling Daryl Morey a liar just because he didn't make this trade happen. Wouldn't I just be raising flags to the league? There seems to be like some under-the-table dealings here. He's not just a liar for not giving him the trade. He's a liar because they promised him more money.
Well, look, the Michael Rubin aspect, what was promised extra legally to James Harden, is where this can get to be a thing that David Stern would have stopped a long time ago, right? Like, part of the reason why you wield an iron fist inside a velvet glove is so that you don't let the business of the league, the true uncomfortable business of the league, spill out there into the public. Now, what you're saying, though, Mike, in terms of what was promised, was James Harden owed anything? I think it is important to note that James Harden and Daryl Morey, as much as they were tied, it was always because they shared incentives, right? It was a relationship of convenience. It was not so much codependence as it was convenience. When it is convenient for your best player to be your best friend, he is your best friend. James is watching Daryl do that to Joel right now. When James Harden is somebody that I don't want James Harden on the Sixers. When I saw this trade request, to be clear, I did not say to myself, oh, no, we might lose James Harden. My thought was, I think Daryl's thought, which was, oh, no, this completely tanks all of the trade value for James Harden. And James is speeding right. I mean, it's do not pass go, do not collect 200. He just wants out of there no matter what. And so he's hitting the nuclear button on a way that might blow up the vault full of secrets, right? I'm not saying that there wasn't extrajudicial stuff that Michael Rubin was involved in. I'm just saying that James Harden is the only person willing to spill or threaten secrets that maybe did not exist because he's going to try everything.
We've got about 15 seconds left. Does this fast track a trade now, and is Morey going to have to take a worse offer?
James Harden wound up in Philly because Daryl Morey waited 6 months to trade Ben Simmons. They are looking into the eyes of their counterpart. They are willing to be uncomfortable. They are willing to make things ugly. And in that way, they will be deserving each other for a very long time longer, I think. I give it months, not weeks.
Scan the QR code if you were watching along on the DraftKings Network and on our YouTube page, youtube.com/@LeBatardShow, to get more Pablo. Pablo, again, congrats on the great trailer. Congrats on the upcoming launch. Excited to have you here on the show. And excited
Let's see a show already.
to see what you're going to do for us here on Metal Art.
www.pablo.show.